Alright, hey Greg here for Party Foul. Got Scott behind the camera. I'm going to talk about our little Camp 2 video we did a while ago about Camp 2 cream and stuff like that. I was going to talk about the origins of that and what it actually kind of means. So the origins of that, I was going to work and I was walking to the train and I was thinking about a game that I played, and I had assassinated Healy on the top of 2, and I was sort of thinking what would my opponent had to have camped to kind of turn off that assassination, make it kind of like too improbable to make a go for it. And I thought about it, I thought 1, well I could still go for it, and when I got to 2 I was starting to do the math and I was like, well that's really getting quite bad. And that's when I kind of thought, Scott and I have been playing this game for like 4 or 5 years, and nobody kind of like really gave us little quick tips and stuff like that, but I thought Camp 2, that's kind of like a good catch-all for like if you feel even like sort of moderately threatened, camping 2 can kind of turn off an assassination or make it so that it's a lot more improbable. And I'll talk kind of about the math in a minute, but it's not sort of like meant to be like, oh, you camp 2 and you're fine under any circumstances. That's not obviously the situation. You still want to maximize your distance to the threats that can hurt you, to hurt your caster, and you want to maximize any sort of defensive benefits that can be given by terrain, like trenches or hills or walls or all that type of stuff. And you also want to sort of like prevent incoming attacks by reducing line of sight, and that's by putting stuff in front of your caster and whatnot to prevent that type of thing. But even under those circumstances where you've like, you blocked off line of sight and you're on a hill and all, or whatever, all that type of stuff to kind of improve your odds, still, even if you think you're kind of safe, camping 2 is a good rule just to make sure you're safe, because sometimes your opponent can surprise you, especially if you've put them in a particularly bad situation. So why is 2 kind of a big deal? Well, a lot of the spells and mechanics in the game are like a +2, -2 type of thing, and mathematically it works out that over the course of a number of attacks greatly increases the odds of success. When it comes to a warcaster, camping 2 is kind of like that type of thing. It gives you a +2 buff on your armor, and usually when it comes to assassinations there's going to be a minimum usually of 3 or 4 attacks, frequently more if they're going to hit you with a bunch of little POW 10s and stuff like that. So camping 2 reduces the amount of damage from each of those attacks by 2, and when you think about it, that could save you 10 or 12 health, which can mean the difference between an assassination and a failed assassination. When it comes to hordes, transfers are a little more tricky to judge, because if they can somehow leverage 12 POW 10 and POW 12 attacks, 2 transfers might not be enough. But with 2 transfers, and taking all those other considerations in, like line of sight and defensive bonuses and stuff like that, those 2 transfers can turn off a couple of really good dice rolls. So if he like cranks a certain dice roll or hits you with a boosted POW 15 or something like that, you can transfer that away and also shut down the assassination. Frequently when I'm looking at the table and I'm looking for an opportunity to assassinate a Hordes caster, camping 2 is frequently enough to like get my attention back towards attrition or scenario or that type of thing. Camping 1 is inviting some danger, and being naked is absolutely game on in terms of like the assassination. If you're camping nothing, then your opponent is going to start to like go into the tank and start to think about how he can monopolize on that. So that's kind of the purpose and the reason why we did the Camp 2 video. It's a very simple guideline. Like I said, you can't use that as like, oh, I camped 2 and I still died because Butcher 3 got to me. That's not kind of the intention behind it. The intention is that even if you think you're safe, camping 2 is a good idea. So when you're getting down to your last focus or fury or something like that, make sure you take that consideration very heavily and think about it. How much am I turning on my opponent to the idea that he can assassinate me if I'm only camping 1 or if my caster is naked? And also that'll play kind of differently with different casters. Some casters playing in a certain matchups, like say Epic Kaya, when she has Shadow packed up in his stealth, camping 1 or sometimes being naked can be okay. But like I said, camping 2 is probably the safest when you have all those other benefits and stuff like that. There's going to be situations where you could camp your entire stack and you could still be dead. but I can't sort of speak to that. It's if you're a new player and you're concerned about assassination, or you're frequently getting assassinated early on in the game, then camping 2 can be the thing that can keep you in the game and playing longer. So good luck.